Hello again. So today's walk is Hockering Wood, which is apparently the third largest ancient woodland in Norfolk. And I came here because there's meant to be some sort of old wartime bomb storage depot remains kicking about, and you can see from the first couple of images there's a fairly complete one just by the entrance where you park. I think that's probably the best one. I've never been here before, but I don't know where they are, so it's going to involve a bit of wandering around, but hopefully get some nice foresty sort of pictures as well. So got some Portra 160 in the camera, and yeah, see what I can find to get the 12 shots. So you'll notice what you might call footpath is actually well surfaced and concrete. That's going to be a remnant from wartime, I guess, when there would have been trucks driving around here to pick up munitions. So it does mean that at least on the main paths it's quite easy to walk along. There's been a lot of rain the past few days, so I had to drive through a couple of floods on the way here. But this isn't too boggy, which is nice. So I've just spotted a little way off the footpath a sort of small remnant of a dead tree, which has got some nice orange leaves on it, and I think they contrast quite well with the rest of it, which is very green. There is a load of twiggy stuff in front of it, so it's a bit messy. I wonder if I just aim upwards and chop the bottom off, maybe it won't be too bad. Yeah, I'll give it a whirl, see what I can pick out. Well, according to the map, there's a sort of little square of water. It looks kind of like a moat, just off along the path that way. The problem is, what's on OpenStreetMap doesn't seem to bear much closeness to reality, it seems, because there should be a footpath leading through there. There doesn't seem to be. It's all very overgrown. Whereas the footpath I'm on is, very well marked. So, I don't know, yeah. Let's see if I can find a way through, or maybe when there is an extra footpath, find a way round. I looked on the Ordnance Survey map, and that seemed a little bit more convinced that the next footpath along was real, even though the other one was sort of marked. So I'm walking along there now. So I guess this moat thing is presumably just somewhere off to the left here, but I haven't quite spotted it yet. Diddy aeroplane. So yeah, not far off the path I found I think this is one of the corners of the moat, because it goes off sort of 45 degrees in each direction. It's moderately photogenic. There is a tree sitting in the corner of the water, so I think what I might do is try and just sort of do a fairly close-up of that. I think that should come out okay. There is a big branch sticking up out of the water which messes it up a little bit, so yeah, I don't know if I can, maybe from slightly more to the left I can cut that off and just have less of the water in the image. Right, set the camera up, see what happens. Well, I ended up using that twig as a bit of a feature in the end, because yeah, there was some branches hanging down, so if I moved around to the side of it, they got in the way of the shot. So I'm crossing, I guess, bridge. It's a bit of earthwork that lets you onto the sort of island in the centre of the moat. So you can see if there's any more shots. It's a bit boggy down this part of it, but there are a couple of nice fallen trees here with a lot of moss on them, so I might have a look at utilising the close-up capabilities of the Mamiya, and see if I can do a sort of close-up of the moss. That might work quite nicely. So there's a couple of things to remember when doing close-ups with this, and they're both sort of indicated by the needle that drops down from the top of the frame when you focus. So first off is because the two lenses are one above the other and you're composing through the top one, you actually need to think that the bottom one is lower, which normally doesn't matter, but when you're doing close-ups it does. So the little line that drops down is indicating what would be the top of the frame that the taking lens sees. So once I've got the focus dialed in, I need to recompose slightly and lift the image up. Push it down. Lift the image up. Move the taking lens to where the focusing lens is. Yeah. The other thing it indicates is that because of the bellows focusing mechanism, you actually need to add in a little bit more exposure because the image gets darker as the bellows rack out, which they do for close-ups. And it's next to the little 1.5 number, so whatever exposure my app comes up with, I need to sort of add another half onto that. Right, that's that done. I'm just going to have a little wander around, see if there's any more nice views of the moat. But I think it is also starting to rain, which is kind of disappointing. I might check the forecast on my app to see if this is going to be a light shower or if it's about to... Is it now? Okay, well the satellite weather radar thingy didn't look too bad, just a small splodge of light blue. Ooh, no. Tree. So I don't think the rain's going to be too bad yet. I'll carry on. So I'm not finding too many more nice views of the moat yet. Most of the way around it's very overgrown. I sort of like those little moss-covered twigs sticking out. Might line up the camera, see if that's worth a pick. It's probably worth mentioning I'm kind of exclusively using the tripod today. It's obviously 160 isn't a very quick film, and the light levels in the woods, especially now the cloud has come over, are pretty low. I'm also, for most of the images, trying to pick a fairly reasonable depth of field, so sort of f8, f11, that kind of thing. So yeah, the exposures are ending up down to half a second, 1 second, which is handy because that's what the camera can do. After that it's bulb and you have to start counting. So I've just reached the next corner of the moat, and I think there's probably going to be a couple of images here. The water is super still and it's not got all that green sort of algae or whatever it is floating on it, so there's some nice reflections. So there's a couple of trees sticking out at a nice angle. There's also a little some moss covered branch poking out closer down to the water's edge, so yeah, I think probably I might be able to get a couple of pictures here. It started raining a bit more, so those images are going to be a little bit raindroppy, I think. Maybe that'll make them more interesting, he said, trying to justify his failure. Right, just walking a little bit more around the moat. It's definitely more open on this side, but I'm hoping up on this corner I can get a shot looking back down it, which will just give a little bit more context to the sort of shape of it. I'm not 100% convinced, but I'm going to try setting up a shot with the tree sticking out of the bank on the left hand side, and the rest of the scene looking down the moat. I'll keep the camera quite low so we can see the water underneath all the leaves. There, it might work. Have a go. As you can possibly hear, just as I took that last image, it started kind of raining properly. So I'm going to start heading back towards the car. I do have a couple of shots left still, but I might as well aim in that direction. What I haven't found yet is any more buildings or building remains. From what I read, although the one by the gate that I photographed to begin with is the best one, or best preserved, there should be some more. But yeah, I am yet to stumble across them. So if I don't find them on this visit, I'll need to do some more research. You're probably wondering why I've not put my coat on. And that's because I left it in the car, because I'm stupid. At least the tree cover is thick enough that I'm not getting too damp. Right, I'm going to stop talking and look at the map, because I'm not entirely sure which way I need to go. Well, the rain has almost stopped actually, and a little bit of sun appeared, which is promising. So I've just grabbed the picture. It's very much just general woodland scene across there. It's quite nice with some ferns in the foreground and a few trees sticking up. So I think, it says 12, so I think I've got like one shot left now. I'm almost back at the car, so see what I can find. There's something pretty for the final image. So for the final shot, I just did this little kind of S-bend in the forest track here. So this will be an interesting one for exposure. I did sort of aim for the shadows a little bit, but then there's obviously a lot of bright spots where the sun has come out. So I'm hoping that being a low-speed film, there's going to be plenty of latitude, and I can pull back the highlights in the final image to get some detail in the brighter areas. Timed it quite well because the sun's going in again now. Ish. Anyway, yeah, that's it. I'll head back home and get this one in the post to be developed and see what comes back. So, thank you for joining me on this little woodland walk. Annoyed I didn't find any more wartime relics. I don't know if there are any. Something I read said there were, but it's quite a big area, and I've only sort of touched the surface of it really. So I might do a bit more research and possibly revisit one day. Yeah, otherwise, let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't already, click on subscribe, and I will see you again soon. Bye.